evening, welcome to Central News for Wednesday, the 2nd of April. I'm Hilary Entwistle. A nationwide charity, Bellyful, supplies free meals to families with babies under 3 months and families in crisis, particularly those who have a child or parent in hospital, have a very sick child or are going through difficult personal circumstances and who don't have a great deal of support around them. Megan Thorne from Bellyful in Hamilton explains the main criteria to receive support.
So the main criteria is probably quite well described in how we describe what we do. So we do meals for families with newborns and for families who are struggling through illness who don't have a lot of family support. And that family support is a key thing. So if you have family, friends or support network who can do the meals for you, then we ask you to rely on that support network. And if you don't, then we help you. But so basically, if you have a newborn or you are a family who are struggling through illness, be that mother, father, children, and you don't have a lot of family support, then we can provide you with some meals.
Applications are being sought from members of the public interested in helping run a $34 million business, that is the Waikato Regional Council. That amount is what the council spends protecting Waikato communities from the likes of flooding and soil erosion, controlling plant and animal pests and enhancing biodiversity. A key part of that work is the involvement of catch zone subcommittees, which include community representatives in the integration of the various catchment management activities. They are looking for subcommittee members to represent the following areas: Taupo, Upper Waikato, Waipa, West Coast, Central Waikato, Lower Waikato, Coromandel and Waiho-Piako. Those interested in a position should visit the Council's website, waikato.gov.nz, and nominations close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of April. Mount Maunganui finance company Mac Warranties Limited has been fined $42,250 in the Auckland District Court for 17 breaches of the Fair Trading Act. Mac's director and shareholder Alan Spears has been fined $22,750 for a further 11 breaches, and Mac has also agreed to provide $182,000 compensation to affected customers. The charges brought by the Commerce Commission related to misleading claims made between 2008 and 2011 when Mac repossessed and sold 79 vehicles used as security for its loans. Steps have been taken to notify all affected debtors of any compensation or account credit due to them as a result of the conduct. However, if any of Mac's customers are uncertain as to whether or not their vehicle was one of the 79 to which the prosecution related, they can contact the Commerce Commission at their contact centre, contact@comcom.gov.nz or 0800 943 600. Western Bay Mayor Ross Patterson will hoist the national flag to officially open Katikati's new Memorial Square at a special ceremony on Wednesday the 16th of April. Memorial Square has been transformed into a centrepiece for the Katikati township and is a memorial to those soldiers who served in the World Wars. The opening ceremony for the square is from 10 a.m. until noon, 16th of April, and the public is welcome. The $300,000 project, designed by Isthmus and built by Mara Construction, includes paving to the road edge and features 3 rectangular granite bars engraved with inscriptions in memory of those New Zealand troops deployed to war. Members of the Bay of Plenty and disabled communities throughout New Zealand are mourning the sudden loss of a real community livewire who made a significant contribution to aiding the disabled. Beverly May Grammer died on Monday surrounded by her family in her hometown of Ohope, aged 34. The health and disability advocate worked in the sector in a number of roles in the last 12 years, including at the Disabled Persons Assembly New Zealand as part of the National Executive Committee in 2001 and president from 2011 to 2013. She went on to establish the online consultancy service Up to Date in 2009 as a response to the demand for up-to-date information, support services and news and reviews as tried and tested by disabled people for disabled people. Now for the coastal forecast, Raglan west coast variable 10 knots with a southwest swell rising to 1 metre. Your high tide in Raglan will be at 1 in the afternoon. But plenty east coast, it is looking pretty calm out there with a variable 5 knots and a developing southeast later on in the day. Your high tide is 10:47 a.m. in Tauranga. Just ahead, the university students racing ahead. Welcome to Central News. After placing 6th overall at last year's international competition in a race car designed, built and raced by Waikato University students, the Waikato Formula Society of Automotive Engineers are determined to place better this year. The car is currently on display at Waikato Museum's interactive exhibition, Excite, and as Anne-Marie found out, there will be plenty of tweaks made to the car by the student team for the 2014 competition.
Todd, work hasn't stopped on the car. You're heading to Melbourne at the end of the year for another Formula SAE competition. What tweaks are you going to make?
Well, we really started with a strong platform from last year, but there's definitely room for improvements. So we're going to look at definitely driver ergonomics, so the driver can feel really secure when he's driving and focus completely on the driving. There's also weight reduction, aerodynamics. We're going to look at steering and suspension geometries, hopefully which will give us better times, resulting in more points.
Nick, what are some of the challenges in achieving speed in this type of car?
Well, to get a really fast car, you really need to get a good balance of power, grip, low weight, and a lot of downforce. So the biggest challenge for us is the car is restricted to a 20mm air intake and only 600 cc's. So difficult to get the power up.
Sam, how is the competition in Melbourne actually run? What happens there?
It's run over 4 days, and the first 2 days are for scrutineering and for static events. Scrutineering involves people looking over the car to make sure it's safe for competition. A tilt test where the car is tilted to 60 degrees to test the centre of gravity. Noise and brake test. If the car does not pass these, it cannot run on competition. The static events are business presentation, designed by judges.
Okay, Todd, tell me about the modifications.
Well, the engine's been pulled out of a motorbike. It's been made to fit the chassis of the car, and we've modified it as per the rules. It has to run a 20mm air intake. That's restricted to restrict horsepower. And also we've removed the motorcycle oil sump, and we've placed a dry sump system in so we can lower the engine and we can reduce any oil drying up around hard cornering.
Todd, you're engine team leader. What does your role entail?
Engine team leader pretty much is we're trying to maximise as much usable horsepower out of the engine as possible and then get that power from the engine to the wheels.
Who built the engine?
The engine was built by a motorcycle company, Suzuki, and we are just trying to take that base platform and then get as much power as we can out of it.
I'm sure driving the car is the fun part. Who gets to do that?
Well, the car's driven by 5 students from the university across 4 different events at competition. Previously, these drivers have all been from the team, all engineers, but you can have drivers enrolled in papers at the university.
Sam, what does having the car on display at Waikato Museum in the Excite exhibition mean to the team?
Well, it's fantastic for getting our car and what we do out to the public, and also for our sponsors, getting their names out to the public as well, which is fantastic.
The House of Science, fronted by Chris Duggan, aims to get more students excited about science in the early years, so they will be inspired to carry on with their studies through secondary and into tertiary education. I spoke with Chris about her goal of setting up a community resource centre for homeschool kids.
Yeah, that's part of it. So the bottom line for the House of Science is connecting and resourcing the science and the science community. So the resource part of that at the moment is focused on getting kits put together for the primary schools, but will eventually go as far as being almost like a shop, for want of a better word, for any member of the community that would like access to science resources. So there is a huge homeschool community here, and they are already part of the House of Science through the after school program. A lot of my students are homeschoolers. But also, yes, there will eventually be a place where they can come and buy agar plates or pH paper or stuff that's not readily available in the shops that they might need for their science experiments at home.
Can you tell us about these science resource toolkits?
Yeah, we've found it's a huge need for primary teachers. Like I said, the principals are telling me their teachers need resources and they need confidence. So the resource kits, I've done a lot of research into what would need to be in there. So we've made sure that all our kits are self-contained, they're easy to use for teachers. They have a teacher manual which is not huge, it's only a few pages, so it's very quick for the teacher to get up to speed on the science that's needed at their level for their kids. And then it's got lots of equipment so they can do hands-on science in the classroom. There's enough in there for every student to do an experiment, so there's 10 lots of everything, so they can work in groups of 3 and the whole class can be involved. It's easy to use, and any consumables get replaced every week. The kits go out for a week at a time and they get collected by my volunteers on the Friday. We replenish them and they're ready to go to another school on the Monday. They cater for the whole range of curriculum levels, so every kit will cater for 5-year-olds through to 12-year-olds. And the experiments in there are not only hands-on, they're also inquiry-based, so often open-ended, so teachers can take them to as many levels as they want to. So they cater for your real your beginner kids as well as your academic excellence, gifted and talented kids at the other end. That's the aim. They're sponsored by our local industries, so that's really important to get some partnership with our local science-based industries. So for instance, we've got the Page McRae robotics kit, we've got the Zespri food science kit. So our local industries are sponsoring those. Avocado New Zealand have sponsored the Torch kit I was talking about. So that's really exciting to get them to partner with us and get them to get the industries to really be seen as supporting science in our local schools.
You have developed a professional development program?
Yeah, we run 8 different sessions a term. Every Thursday there's a different session here at the House of Science. Now these are free for teachers of schools that have become a member of the House of Science. And so there's 8 different sessions, like I said, and we repeat those every term. So a teacher of year 1 to 4 students can come to the House of Science for 2 hours of professional development once a term, and then again the following term there'll be a slightly different focus, but we're catering for the same teachers. So everything from your year 1 through to your senior physics teachers, secondary science HODs, they're all catered for and targeted 2-hour sessions. And the main aim of those is to network together, so to get those teachers to talk to each other from other schools so that we can support each other and not all reinvent the wheel, but share our resources. To have some input from local industry or some research that's happening locally or something that's relevant and new and exciting, and to be kept up to date with the curriculum issues or NCA issues, so we discuss those as well.
Coming up next, we find out what it takes to run up the Sky Tower. Welcome back. Over 140 firefighting brigades will come together in May to run up the Sky Tower to raise funds for Leukemia and Blood Cancer New Zealand. Not only will they be running up 1,103 steps, they'll be doing it wearing 25 kilograms of firefighting kit. Anne-Marie headed along to the Hamilton Volunteer Fire Brigade in Chartwell to find out more.
The firefighter run started 10 years ago with a handful of firefighters, which has grown hugely every year, and now we're probably up to, I think it's over 500 firefighters this year, going on the 17th of May, climbing the Sky Tower, fully kit and firefighting gear.
Craig, what motivates you to run up 1,103 steps in full kit?
Just obviously the Leukemia and Blood Foundation in New Zealand, and just raising money for the general community.
How is the team fundraising?
Our team's just received buckets today actually, and we're going to be shaking buckets in town and hopefully at different events around Hamilton at the moment. And also on our Facebook page we've been promoting that. We'll go on that page and click on the link and you can go straight to the fundraising page.
And do you have a team goal, or does each individual have a goal as well?
Everybody's supposedly supposed to raise about $1,000, and obviously all more money you get is way more better for the cause.
Andrew, tell me about the gear that you're going to be running in.
We're trained in full firefighting kit, which involves a helmet, gloves, full jacket, leggings, gumboots, and also the BA cylinder that's on your back. Weighs about 25 kgs, and yeah, so it's pretty heavy once you got it all on, plus sweat every time you get to the top.
Andrew, tell me about the training.
Well, where do I start? We get up pretty early in the morning, go into town, climb the Government Life Building, which is 17 flights of stairs. We do that 3 or 4 times a week, plus out at work. We come on the escalators, turn them on reverse and just plod away until we die.
Craig, you haven't done it before. Have the guys told you what to expect?
Well, I've watched a couple of YouTube videos on it. Boys are always happy when they come back, so why not give it a go? It's for a good cause at the end of the day.
And you like you say, it's a fantastic cause for the Leukemia and Blood Cancer New Zealand Foundation. How can people donate?
Over, if you see us around in the street shaking our bucket, chuck the old 20 buck in there, you'll be sweet. Otherwise, you can go straight to our Facebook page, which is Hamilton Volunteer Fire Brigade. Like us, and there's a link on our page. You can click on that and it'll take you through to our leukemia fundraising page.
To donate, go to the Facebook page Hamilton Volunteer Fire Brigade and all the details are there. Get Smart, Tauronga's Stoked Tie Orders program aims to help youth with drug addiction through surfing. I spoke with the program facilitator to find out why surfing.
Surfing is a really positive activity, and in this program it's a means to an end. Surfing is something that a lot of these young guys actually want to do, and finding something that they want to do is quite difficult. So in this program we use it as a positive activity that they want to do, and then it allows us to engage with them on a more deeper level as well. So the surfing, not only does it get them active and moving and doing something positive and getting that adrenaline rush, it helps us build a relationship with them.
How do you inspire someone to find out who they are?
A lot of these young guys that we work with, they don't know much about where they've come from. And part of the program is identifying their whakapapa, kind of where they're from, what land they come from, who their ancestors are. And it just gives them a strong identity to stand upon, knowing that information.
Are most of your clients Māori?
Most of the guys who complete this Stoked program are Māori, yes.
How do you think that learning about where you're from helps you with drug and alcohol addiction?
This program that we run is based on the Te Whare Tapawha model, which is Mason Jury's holistic approach with health. And one of the core aspects of this Te Whare Tapawha model is identity. And that's the foundation of what we stand upon. And if we don't know what we stand upon, we don't have a foundation in our life. And one of our core aims is to help these guys learn who am I and where have I come from, so they can stand firmly upon that foundation and grow in their strength.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that Māori aspect to the course?
Yeah, the program itself has a cultural aspect to it. The guys learn a haka throughout the whole 8 weeks, and then on the final day at the graduation they perform this, and it's just really empowering for them. A lot of them have never learned a haka before and they just thrive. They just are so excited to have someone teaching them this. So there's the haka, and they also learn their pepeha, which is their line of where they've come from, what mountain is theirs, what ocean is theirs, kind of a lineage of who they are. And they say this with confidence at the graduation as well, and they know who they are.
After the break, we find out your weather for Thursday and we read between the lines. Welcome back. Hamilton's Garden Place Library is providing local children and book lovers with a rare opportunity to get inside the heads of some of the Waikato's best known children's authors and illustrators. Anne-Marie spoke with exhibition coordinator Deborah Hind about the Between the Lines exhibition, currently on at Hamilton's Garden Place Library.
Deborah, welcome to Central News. Tell me about the focus of the Between the Lines exhibition.
Okay, the main focus is to expose what goes on behind the scenes of making a book, whether it's written or illustrated. So what we're trying to do is get across in a very short space of time the author, where the idea came from, how they went about it, if they're self-published, and basic background on the book, and then with an illustrator working with an author and also their process of illustrating that book.
What was the inspiration behind the exhibition?
Maria Gill and Victoria Azaro are authors in Auckland, and they have been running an exhibition similar to this at the Parnell Library called What Lies Beneath. And in a Facebook conversation, I put my hand up and said, I'll do one down here. So yeah, it's a little bit different because of our space is quite different. Yeah, but basically the same, it shows the process.
And the focus is Waikato authors and illustrators.
Yeah.
I was looking on the website. We've got a lot of fabulous writers and illustrators in the Waikato.
We do, and they're spread out. So, and the other thing I found really hard was actually tracking them down. Everywhere you go with NZSA, which is the Society of Authors, they have a database, but it's all alphabetical and not regional. So trying to track people down was pretty difficult. So I spoke to publishers who knew of somebody who was in the Waikato. There were some that were obviously I knew about, like Des Hunt and Donovan Bixley, although he's not in the exhibition, unfortunately.
So who do you think the exhibition is going to appeal to?
I actually think it's going to appeal to a really wide audience. We've got teachers are really interested in going along, just anyone really that is interested in books, children, students, illustration art students, and also wannabe writers. You know, it just exposes what goes on behind.
I see you've got a teaching resource available too.
Yeah, we're actually in the process of putting that together at the moment. So that will be on the website, and we'll also have some printouts available at the library for people to take away.
The Between the Lines exhibition runs until April the 30th at Garden Place Library, Hamilton. Now for our region's weather for Thursday. It will be a foggy start for you, Hamilton, but after that it clears. It will be mostly fine with light winds. Your expected high is 24 and an overnight low of 9. Paeroa, the same for you, morning fog and a fine day. Your expected high is 23 and an overnight low of 10. And the same for the rest of the Waikato too, morning and evening fog, but a fine day with light winds. Matamata, a little cooler during the day for you with 21. Your expected high a bit warmer at night though with 11. Te Awamutu, you have a high of 24 and 9 for your low. And Tokoroa, a chilly night for you with 8 as your low and 22 as your high. The Bay of Plenty, Tauranga, morning and evening cloud with a fine day and light winds. Your expected high is 23 and an overnight low of 13. Te Puke, the same for you too, with 21 and 12 as your expected temperatures. That is us for today. Like us on Facebook or email us at news@tvcentral.co.nz and let us know what is going on in your community. Join me again tomorrow night for more stories from the Bay of Plenty and the Waikato. I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.